My son's friend hugged me at the grocery store and whispered, "Please talk to him before it's too late." I rushed home in fear, and what I found in his bedroom changed everything I thought I knew about him. My name is Laura Hayes. I am 38. I work at the diner on Main Street. My son, Ethan, is 16. He has soft brown hair and big eyes that used to smile all the time. Lately, he did not smile much. He shut his door a lot. He skipped dinner sometimes. He said he was fine. I believed him. I wanted to believe him. I was pushing a cart down the cereal aisle when Tyler wrapped his arms around me. He is Ethan's friend from school. He is 17 and tall and looks older than his years. He smelled like the outside, like grass and sweat and cheap cologne. He squeezed me fast. I did not know him well, but he hugged like someone who needed to hold on. He whispered in my ear so quietly only I could hear, "Please talk to him before it's too late." Those words struck me like a stone. My legs went weak. I dropped a box of cornflakes. People looked up. Tyler let go and walked away like nothing had happened. I stood there in the grocery store and felt the air go thin. My cart rattled. The lights hummed. I rushed to my car without paying for the bread I had already grabbed. I drove too fast down Elm Street. My heart pounded. I kept hearing Tyler's voice. "Before it's too late." I thought of nights Ethan did not come down for dinner. I thought of the messages I could not read because he hid his phone. I thought of all the times I said I would talk to him tomorrow. I pulled into our driveway. I ran inside with my keys in my hand. The house smelled like lemon cleaner and yesterday's coffee. I called Ethan in a voice that sounded small. No answer. I ran up the stairs two at a time. His bedroom door was closed. His music played softly behind the door. I opened it slow. I stopped because the room looked wrong. On his bed lay his jacket. On his desk was his backpack, zipped shut. On the dresser, something made my breath catch, a small white box with a ribbon, a pile of folded cash, and a stack of Polaroids leaning against a lamp. The top photo showed Ethan smiling into the camera, but behind him, someone else stood too close. The words on the back of the Polaroid were smudged, but I could read one thing: Tyler. I did not know what I was looking at. I only knew that everything was about to change. I could not tell what it meant. I could not tell if it was good or bad. I felt a cold trickle down my neck. I reached for my phone. My hands trembled. I could not move. I called his name again, and this time the whisper from the grocery store came back to me, louder. "Please talk to him before it's too late." That was the most shocking part. I had to find out. But I could not yet. I stood in the doorway like a statue and froze. This was the first time I had felt scared enough to be brave. I shut the door quietly behind me, and I held the doorknob. The house hummed. The world outside kept moving. I wanted to run back to the grocery store, to Tyler, to ask him why he had said that. But something in me told me to stay. I wanted to know first. Before I show you what I saw next, you must know how we got here. You must know the slow things that chip away at a person. You must know the nights I cried alone and the mornings I put on a brave face. You must know what Ethan and I used to be. Ethan was born on a bright Sunday. He was small and loud and perfect in the way only babies can be perfect. When he learned to walk, he walked to me first. When he learned to talk, he said "mama" like it was the sweetest word. I worked nights so he would have steady food and a roof. The diner paid the bills. We ate leftovers and laughed at small TV shows. We had simple things, but they were ours. High school started and time did a new thing. Ethan grew taller than me in 2 weeks it felt. He painted his nails one summer and laughed when I tried to dye my hair pink. He made me playlists and then, one day, he put his headphones on and the playlist changed. He began spending afternoons with friends. That was normal. I said yes. I said go. But in the last year the go became stay out and the talk later became no talks at all. He started sleeping in late, then late again. His school grades slipped. He started closing his door more. I knocked and said, "Ethan, supper," and he said, "Okay," but the plate stayed cold. I found receipts in his jeans pocket for places I did not know. I found small coins missing from my purse. I found texts with names that were not the ones I knew. I asked him once, "Is someone being mean to you?" And he said, "I'm fine." He lied to me. That hurt worse than anything else because he has always told the truth. Every little lie was a stone in my shoe. Then there was Tyler. He started sitting by the booth at the diner sometimes, waiting for Ethan after school. He asked me about recipes and about my day. He smiled like he wanted to be in our lives. He brought Ethan a comic book and a sweatshirt once. He waved at me and said, "Mrs. Hayes." He made me feel seen, like someone who mattered. I liked him. I trusted him more than I trusted the empty phone calls. I remember one night when Ethan came home at midnight. He whispered, "Sorry, Mom." He looked smaller. Tyler had his arm around him when the porch light was on. Tyler said, "We walked him home." They said the right things. I made pancakes the next morning and put them on the table. Ethan ate too. He tried to smile. I tried to breathe. I told myself this was a phase. I told myself all teenagers were strange. One less scary thing happened a week before the grocery store. I found a note on the fridge that said, "Mom, I'll be late." The handwriting was messy. I felt guilty for the nights I had missed. I texted him, "Dinner." He texted back, "Busy." I wrote back, "Call me when you can." He did not. That small silence screamed. I began to watch him more, like a mother bird who notices a broken feather. I thought it was a small worry. I thought I could fix it with talks and cooked meals. I thought I could be kind and that kindness would be enough. Then in the grocery store, Tyler hugged me and whispered those words. After that, everything sped up. I started asking questions I had been too scared to ask. I went through pockets for the first time in a long time, not to spy, but to find a reason. I found an empty envelope with a strange stamp. I found a paperclip bent around a folded picture. I found a small key taped under the sock drawer. Each small find made the room in my chest a little darker. I felt like a detective who loved the person she was trying to protect. I stood in Ethan's doorway and reached for the Polaroids. My fingers closed on the top one. It showed Ethan with a smile I did not recognize. Behind him, the edge of someone else's shoulder showed in the picture. The ribbon on the box moved because the air from the fan touched it. I felt like the whole house was listening with me. I pulled back the stack of photos. There were more than I expected. There were pictures of Ethan in strange places at night. There were receipts from a motel. There was a small plastic bag with a strange white powder that made my stomach drop. I had never seen anything like that before. I felt the ground fall away. My hands went numb. I wanted to call 911. I wanted to scream. I wanted to wake up. Then, from the hallway, I heard a soft step. Not Ethan. Not the familiar heavy thump of my own heart. It was another footfall. I turned and there, standing in the doorway behind me, was Tyler. He was wet from the rain. He had something in his hand, a phone, a small paper bag, and he was breathing fast. His eyes were wide. He took one step forward. His mouth moved. "We have to go," he said. His voice was not the quiet voice from the grocery store. It shook. Behind him, the window was open and the curtains were blowing like a thin hand. On the bed, the Polaroids fluttered a little and then settled. I could not tell if this was the worst thing or just the start. I could not tell what the truth was. I only knew that Tyler's whisper had sent me here. I only knew that something real and terrible was happening. I wanted to grab Ethan and hold him and tell him everything would be okay. I wanted to understand. I wanted to be kind. Tyler stepped forward and looked at me with those scared eyes. "Please," he said again, but this time it sounded like a shout lost in a thunderstorm. "Please talk to him before it's too late." Behind him, on the wall, something caught my eye. It was not a Polaroid. It was a small, folded note pinned with a thumbtack. My heart jumped. I walked toward it. My hand reached out. Before my fingers touched the paper, the lights went out. The house froze. The hush was thick. My breath held inside me like a trapped bird. The last thing I heard before the darkness swallowed the room was Ethan's voice, very faint from somewhere I could not find, "Mom." For a second, I didn't move. The house was dark, silent, and cold in a way that didn't feel natural. My fingers were still a few inches away from the note on the wall, but something in me told me not to touch it yet. Tyler stood behind me, breathing hard in the darkness. I could barely see the outline of his shoulders. Mom? Ethan's voice echoed again, faint, shaky, frightened. My heart slammed against my ribs. Ethan. I yelled into the dark. Where are you? No answer. Only the soft hum of the refrigerator downstairs and the sound of Tyler stepping closer. Laura, he said, his voice low, we need light. He took his phone out and turned on the flashlight. A narrow beam cut through the darkness and landed on the note pinned to the wall. My breath caught again. The paper was wrinkled, edges uneven like it had been torn from a notebook. The handwriting was Ethan's. I knew it at once. But I still didn't touch it. Because the flashlight also revealed something else. The window across the room was open wide, the curtains whipping violently, rain splashing on the floor. And on the windowsill, a footprint. A muddy one. A shoe I didn't recognize. My whole body went rigid. Was someone in his room? I whispered. Tyler didn't answer. He just shone the light toward the floor where the water from the rain had pooled. There were more footprints, 3, 4 leading toward the hallway. Where is Ethan? I whispered again, my throat tightening. Tyler swallowed. We need to follow those tracks. But before he took a step, something else happened, something that made every hair on my arm stand up. A thump. From downstairs. Then another. Heavy. Slow. Measured. Not like a dropped object. Not like a falling book. Like footsteps. Someone else was in the house. Tyler grabbed my wrist. Don't make a sound, he whispered. But a mother does not stay quiet when her child is missing. I pulled my hand away. Ethan. I called out, louder this time. Tyler flinched. Laura, stop. A voice answered, but it wasn't Ethan. A deep voice. A male. Someone groaned. Upstairs? Tyler's face went pale. We have to hide, he said sharply. Now. My throat locked. What is going on, Tyler? Who is here? And where is my son? His eyes started toward the hallway. I'll explain. But first we need to. The footsteps started coming up the stairs. Slow, dragging, heavy. Tyler grabbed my hand again and pulled me into Ethan's closet. I stumbled inside, knocking into his hanging shirts, my breath loud in my own ears. Tyler shut the door gently and pressed his finger to his lips. We stood shoulder to shoulder in the dark, the only light the thin line from the bottom of the closet door. Footsteps reached the top of the stairs. Then they went silent. I covered my mouth with my hand, trying not to sob. My mind raced with every terrible possibility. Was Ethan hurt? Kidnapped? Hiding somewhere? Who is this man in my house? Why did Tyler know what to do? Why did Tyler look terrified? Then, the floorboard right outside the closet creaked. A shadow passed in front of the door's sliver of light. And then, the closet door rattled. My knees nearly buckled. Tyler stiffened, pushing his arm in front of me protectively. The doorknob turned halfway. Stopped. Turned again. I felt tears spill without permission. Then, as quickly as it started, the rattling stopped. The footsteps walked away slow, deliberate, toward the direction of the stairs. We stayed frozen for what felt like forever. Then Tyler leaned closer to my ear. He knows, he whispered. Knows what? Tyler swallowed. What Ethan was planning. My breath hitched. Planning? Planning what? Tyler, tell me the truth right now. Tyler hesitated. His face twisted like he was fighting with himself internally. He wasn't supposed to do it today, he whispered. I told him to wait. I begged him to wait. But he said. Tyler's voice cracked. He said he didn't care anymore. That he was done. My chest tightened painfully. Done with what? I whispered. Tyler didn't get to answer. Because suddenly from downstairs, we heard another voice. A voice I recognized. Mom? Ethan. My heart exploded with relief and terror at the same time. I yanked the closet door open before Tyler could stop me. He grabbed my arm, but I tore away from him and ran toward the stairs. Mom? Ethan called again, sounding confused, scared, trembling. I rushed down the hallway, ignoring Tyler's whispered, Laura, wait. I turned the corner and saw Ethan standing at the foot of the stairs, soaked from the rain, hair dripping, chest rising and falling fast. He looked shaken, exhausted, and older somehow. But before I could reach him, before I could wrap him in my arms, A man stepped out from behind him. A tall man. Dark clothes. Hood up. Face hidden. And he placed a large hand on Ethan's shoulder. My scream caught in my throat. The man looked up at me slowly. "Let's all talk," he said in a calm, cold voice. "As a family." Ethan's eyes filled with tears. "Mom," he whispered. "Please don't be mad." A cold wave washed over me because I knew. My son wasn't afraid of the man behind him. He was afraid of me finding out the truth. Before I could speak, the man tightened his grip on Ethan's shoulder and said, "Tell her, Ethan. Tell her what you did." And that is where the next chapter begins. For one long second, everything inside me stopped, my heartbeat, my breath, even my fear. Ethan stood there shaking, rainwater dripping from his hair onto the floor. The hooded man's hand rested heavy on his shoulder, too familiar, too calm. Tyler stood behind me on the stairs, breathing fast like he had run a marathon. No one moved. No one spoke. Then the hooded man squeezed Ethan's shoulder and said again, slower this time, "Tell her what you did." Ethan's chin trembled. He didn't look at me. He kept staring at the floor like if he raised his eyes, everything would collapse. "Mom," his voice cracked. "I didn't want you to find out this way." My legs felt weak, but I forced myself to take one step down. "Ethan, sweetheart, what's going on? Who is he? Why is he touching you?" The hooded man tilted his head, amused. "He knows me very well." "No," Ethan whispered quickly, shaking his head. I didn't." His voice broke. My heart shattered a little. Tyler finally rushed forward. "Laura, step back. Please. He's dangerous." The man's head turned toward Tyler, slow and deliberate, like a wolf noticing a smaller animal. "Dangerous?" he repeated, almost laughing. "You, of all people, should choose your words carefully." There was something horrifying in the way he spoke, like he wasn't afraid of any of us at all. Like he held all the cards and we were just fumbling in the dark. I swallowed hard. "Let my son go." The man didn't move his hand. Instead, Ethan finally lifted his face. His eyes were red, watery, full of guilt. "Mom, he's not here to hurt me." The hooded man smiled without showing his teeth. "See? The boy understands." Tyler cursed under his breath. "Don't listen to him. Ethan, you don't owe him anything. Just tell her the truth." "I can't," Ethan whispered. "Yes, you can," Tyler shouted, voice unraveling. "If she doesn't hear it now, it'll be too late." The man's smile vanished. His grip tightened on Ethan's shoulder, making my son wince. "That's enough," the man said. "I will explain. Since the boy refuses." He stepped forward, pushing Ethan slightly in front of him like a shield. I wanted to rip my son away from him, but fear glued my feet in place. "You see," the man continued, "your son made a promise. A promise he could not keep." His voice dropped lower. "And people who break promises owe something in return." A chill ran down my spine. What promise?" Ethan's face broke into tears. "Mom, I'm sorry. I messed up." "Tell her," the man ordered. Ethan took a shaky breath. "I took something from him." My stomach twisted. "What did you take?" Ethan looked sick. Terrified. Regretful. "My dad's watch," he whispered. I blinked. "Your father's watch? But your father didn't own anything expensive." The man chuckled. "Not your father. His father." He jabbed a finger at Ethan. I stared blankly. "Ethan's father. He means me," the man said casually. The world tilted. "No," I whispered, shaking my head. "You're not. You can't possibly." The man didn't let me finish. "You know exactly who I am." But I didn't. I had never seen this man in my life. And yet the way he stared at me made something cold creep up my spine, like he knew me, deeply, painfully, from somewhere far away. Ethan wiped his tears with the back of his hand. "Mom, I'm sorry. I shouldn't have taken it. I needed the money." "What money? For what?" I asked. He looked away again. Tyler stepped closer. "That's what I've been trying to tell you. Ethan got involved in something that went too far." The man let out a sharp laugh. "You speak as if you didn't help him." Tyler froze. "That's not true." "Oh, but it is." The air felt thinner. Heavier. The man dropped his hood. I gasped. He looked older than I expected, maybe late 40s, with sharp cheekbones, deep-set eyes, and a thin scar running from his left ear down to his jawline. His eyes were the darkest thing I had ever seen. Not angry. Not sad. Just empty. He smiled slightly, watching my reaction. Now you recognize me. I didn't. But something inside me, something buried, felt a familiar sting. Like I had seen him before in a foggy nightmare I couldn't fully remember. Ethan pressed his hands to his face. Mom, please don't be mad. I didn't know he'd come here. Of course I would, the man said. A debt is a debt. What debt? I screamed. He's a child. The man turned toward Ethan. Tell her about the money. My stomach dropped. Money? What money? Ethan, I whispered. What did you do? Ethan's lips trembled. Mom, I needed to help someone. Who? He didn't answer. Tyler did. Me. My head snapped toward him. You. Tyler swallowed. My mom, she got sick. We couldn't afford the medicine. Insurance denied the claim. Ethan said, his voice cracked. He said he'd help. Ethan's shoulders shook as he cried. I didn't want to tell you. I knew you'd worry. I stared at them both, confused, hurt, scared. But where did you get the money? Silence. Then Ethan spoke. Barely a whisper. I sold something that wasn't mine. The man stepped forward. My son died last year. The watch was the last thing he gave me. Your boy stole it, sold it, and never paid me my share. I tracked him down. I tried to be patient. But patience has limits. Ethan collapsed to his knees. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. The man stared at him without emotion. Tyler knelt beside him, pulling Ethan into his arms. It's not your fault. This is my fault. I asked for help. I put him in this mess. My heart tore open at the sight of them, two boys trying to hold each other together while a grown man towered over them like a shadow. I took a step forward. If he stole from you, fine. If he made a mistake, fine. But you do not come into my home and threaten my child. The man smiled. I didn't threaten him. He reached into his coat. I froze. Tyler yanked Ethan back, ready to shield him. The man pulled out a folded piece of paper. He held it out to me. This, he said calmly, is the real issue. I hesitated, then took it with trembling fingers. I unfolded it. My breath caught. It wasn't a bill. It wasn't a threat. It was a contract. Signed by Ethan. And me. My handwriting. My signature. Dated months ago. You forged my name? I whispered. Ethan sobbed harder. The man stepped back slightly. Your son made a deal. And now, I'm here to collect. Something snapped in me. Over my dead body. The man tilted his head, amused. If that's how you want it. Before I could react, before I could breathe, before anyone could move, he reached into his coat again. This time, what he pulled out wasn't paper. It was a glint of metal. A knife. And he stepped toward Ethan. For a split second, the world stopped moving. The knife gleamed under the dim hallway light, small but deadly, the kind of blade meant to threaten or worse. Tyler yanked Ethan backward, almost knocking both of them to the floor. I screamed without sound, my throat so tight nothing came out. The man stepped closer, his boots tapping the wooden floor like a countdown. One way or another, he said calmly, the debt is paid tonight. I moved. Instinct took over, not fear, not thought, just a mother's body acting on its own. I threw myself between the man and my son, my arms stretched wide. You will not touch him, I said, voice shaking but steady. The man laughed softly, like I was a child. You don't understand, Laura. Your boy signed his life away. And whether you forged the signature or he did. I didn't forge anything. Ethan cried from behind me. I panicked. I didn't know what else to do. Tyler needed help. And you could have come to me. I turned back and yelled at him, pain cracking through every word. Why didn't you come to me, Ethan? His face crumpled. Because you gave up everything for me. I didn't want to put more weight on you. I didn't want to be another burden. That hurt more than anything the man could do. My son thought he was a burden. I wiped my tears fast. Ethan, you are my child. You come to me. Always. Behind me, the man cleared his throat impatiently. Are we done with this emotional performance? He asked coldly. The debt remains. The item your son sold was worth thousands. I want my money. Tonight. Then take me, I said before he could finish. Not him. Take me. Tyler grabbed my elbow. No, Mrs. Hayes. Mom, no. Ethan screamed. But I meant it. I would give the man anything, money, jewelry, even my own life, before I let a blade touch my son. The man raised an eyebrow. Take you. Yes, I said. My hands trembled, but my voice steadied. Whatever it is you think you're owed, I will work. I will pay. I will do whatever it takes. But you're not taking my son. He studied me for a long moment, the knife loose in his hand. Then he tilted his head. You think this is about money, he said. But it's not. Tyler stepped forward. Then what do you want from him? The man smiled, a slow, cruel smile. Loyalty. Something in Ethan snapped. He jumped to his feet. I'm not joining your group. Ethan cried. I'm not doing anything for you. I regret everything. I made a mistake. The man's smile vanished instantly. You made a choice, he said darkly. And choices have consequences. He lunged. Everything happened fast. Tyler shoved Ethan out of the way. The man's knife swung. I grabbed the man's arm with both hands, pushing back with every ounce of strength I had. We crashed into the wall, his arm locked in mine, the blade inches from my face. My shoulder screamed in pain as he pushed harder. I dug my nails into his skin and twisted, desperate. You should have stayed out of this, he growled. I'm his mother, I spat. I'll never stay out of it. Tyler grabbed the man from behind, trying to pull him off me, but the man elbowed him hard. Tyler fell to the floor, gasping. Mom, Ethan cried. The blade inched closer to my cheek. My arm shook. I felt my strength slipping. Then Ethan did something I didn't expect. He grabbed a heavy lamp from the hallway table, the one his grandmother gave me years ago, lifted it with both hands, tears streaming down his face, and smashed it into the man's shoulder. The man roared in pain. The knife clattered to the floor. I stumbled back, gasping for air, my heart pounding like a drum. The man recovered fast. Too fast. He turned toward Ethan with murder in his eyes. You little. He charged at my son. Everything blurred, my scream, Ethan's cry, Tyler scrambling up from the floor. I saw the man's fists, Ethan's wide eyes, the hallway spinning. Then Tyler grabbed the knife from the ground and stood up. Stop, he yelled. But the man didn't stop. He slammed into Ethan, pinning him against the wall. That was Tyler's breaking point. He didn't stab him. But he swung the knife and sliced the man's arm deeply. The man screamed a loud, animalistic sound and jumped back, clutching his bleeding arm. You kids, he growled. You have no idea what you've just done. He stumbled backward toward the door, blood dripping onto the floor. This isn't over, he hissed, pointing at Ethan with his good hand. Debts always get paid. Then he bolted out the front door and disappeared into the rain-soaked night. For a moment, no one moved. No one breathed. The house was silent except for the rain hitting the roof. Ethan slid down the wall, shaking. I ran to him and pulled him into my arms, hugging him so tight he buried his face into my shoulder. Mom, I'm sorry, he cried. I'm so sorry. It's okay, I whispered, stroking his hair. You're safe. That's all that matters. Tyler sank to the floor, exhausted, the knife clattering next to him. He looked up at me with tear-filled eyes. I didn't want it to get this bad, he whispered. I nodded. I know. For a few minutes, we just sat there, 3 people, broken, breathing, alive. But I also knew something else. That man would be back. He wasn't finished. And now that Tyler had cut him, now that Ethan fought back, now that I stood in his way, he'd come harder. And the next time, he wouldn't come alone. I squeezed Ethan tighter. We're not running, I whispered. We're not hiding. We're going to end this. For good. Ethan looked up at me, his eyes red but determined. How? He asked. I didn't know yet. But I knew one thing. He had come into my house. He had threatened my son. He had tried to take something from me. Now it was my turn. My revenge, our revenge, was only beginning. And that was how the story ended. But the war had just begun.